back or 5 years back, and how the technology has changed the way we are doing the business. So today's agenda, what are the normal business challenges, day-to-day business? We have seen in lockdown, during lockdown duration, how all the business were affected, and how some of them have utilized this opportunity to transform their business and along with the new technologies. We have so many times heard about Industry 4. So what exactly is the Industry 4? What is the digital transformation? And what are the elements of digital business? And there are so many technologies which we are already using it, and some of the technology which we are doing. I request all the participants to mute their and we will see the examples of all the futurist technologies, how it's going to be used. So if you just think of any business, maybe it's our grocery store to multinational organization or small department stores or mall, basically the business process and challenge remain the same, because ultimate goal of the business is to gain the profit, and to gain the profit all the businesses got some challenges. There are challenges like a customer satisfaction. Are you selling the right products or at the right pricing? And the order management, you have to deliver on the right time. And again, you have to source the material from your vendor to make the final product to sell it to your customer. And then you have to stock the material. Because during the lockdown period, we have seen suddenly there was a lockdown announced, and there was no inventory within the store. And then we have to bill the customers and ensure that there is a collection. So all the business conventionally, they are keep on changing the way they are functioning. There are new technologies are getting involved, and there is a new method getting involved. So one of the example, we suddenly have a lockdown, and almost all the business and everything was locked down. So there are many innovators. They have thought of some innovative ideas to keep their business running. For example, the restaurants. All the restaurants are closed, but they were utilized and thought of some ideas for how to keep the revenues going. So they started giving online deliveries. You order the food online and you get food delivered. So this process is keep on happening from the thousands of years in the business. All the people get combined. There is a problem, and they've tried to find out a solution to ensure there is a profitability. So these are the challenges and the solution in all the business. Because unless and until the business don't keep on evolving according to with the situation and with the help of new technology, the business will not survive. For example, in some 5 years or 10 years back, we did not even imagine that we can buy the things online. We can order everything online, and Amazon is delivering it to our home. And there are many shops closer by to us. They also never thought of that the people will start buying online. And now the result is almost business has been shifted from normal neighborhood shop to online platforms. So they have to close their shop, or maybe they have to start a new business. So it's a business process. Is always you have to think of innovation, how the markets are changing, how to be relevant in the new market. So what exactly is a digital transformation? It's not basically we started using computers almost in 90s, but it has not changed the way we have done the business. Computers just helped us to increase our efficiency, just like a calculator. It has helped us to just facilitate our work, but it has not changed the way we are doing the business. In the same example, the neighborhood shop, we started using the billing for he started using computer for billing. He started using calculator, but still he was functioning in the same way, in the same shop. His approach towards the market was not changed. It did not, his, his business was focused on that particular area only. He did not transform his business. But with this digital transformation, is entirely the conventional business, they have to change their business, otherwise they have to close the shop. We had last 100 years, we had so many industrial revolution. 100 years back, there was the people were riding the horses and travel for traveling or for delivery of the material. And then I think 150 years back, there was a water and steam engine has been discovered. So it has changed the way people were doing or people were commuting. Operating on all the factories, which has closed down the existing way of manufacturing and doing the business. And then came the second revolution. Then in 1920s, there was second revolution, that was the electric power. So all the machine which was operating on the steam or a water, it has been converted, they started using electric power. So factories become a larger. Earlier, the manufacturing unit had a lot of limitation, but now we had a larger factory and communication methods were much better. And then after 1950s, we had an electronic revolution. So electronic revolution, we had the radios, we had telephones. Okay, it was a black box. So we started connecting, and the efficiency of the business started getting increased. And we had so now, after invention of the internet and with all the Google and all the supporting all the technologies, the functioning of the business is again, it has transformed. So we are going to focus on how this life in the consumer segment and satisfaction. So there was a survey why we need to adopt the new technology, why we should buy computers or start doing business on electronic platform. So there was a survey because almost 55% customers' behavior has been changed. Now they started reading newspapers on the mobile in a PDF form. Students have started reading the books on the mobiles or on the laptop. There are few people buying hardcore books or buying newspapers. And there are trained in the new generation to order everything online. And it brings the growth opportunity for the sellers or for the manufacturers. They can reach to the market segment becomes very large. It is not restricted only for Bangalore. You can sell this product to Mumbai also just sitting in Bangalore. Because the communication method and connecting to the customer, it becomes much easier. And as we discussed before, our neighborhood shop, grocery shop, he has got the competition from DMart or Reliance Fresh or online platform. So he has to modernize his business. Otherwise, his business will collapse, and he has to find a new business. And even our governments are insisting on a digital business. Last 2 years back, there was a Notebandi inter country, and government was pressing on using a digital currency, online payment. So when government is focusing on a digital payment or digital currency, so now it is not mandatory, but we prefer to do the online transaction because it's safe and you don't have to carry so much cash. So digital transformation, adopting a new technology, is it a risk or is it an opportunity? It is a risk for many people who are not ready to change their way of doing the business. It is the opportunity for the same person, if he adopts this technology, he can increase the business in a multifold because his market segment will increase. So you can see 92% businessmen or people think it is very necessary to adopt the new technology to become a successful. And even 45% feel that if they don't adopt this new way of technologies or internet working, their, their business will collapse and they have to close the shop. And even in today's era also, even 48% people doesn't know what exactly is the digital transformation. Now, how to do the business on a digital platform, how to adopt the new technologies. Why we need digital transformation? In India, I think there was almost 20 crore smartphones, and every day it is increasing. Even if smaller villages, people are using the smartphones. So the mobile, it becomes a necessity for each and every citizen, even for the child to the older people. It's not a fancy gadget right now. So most of activities you are doing on the mobile. So these are 2013 data, 1 billion, 100 crores mobile were sold off, and every year the amount is keep on increasing. And another thing is the social media. We are all connected with the social media, WhatsApp or Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn. Even searching for jobs, people are using LinkedIn. They no more read the classified ads and the day-to-day newspapers. And there is a big data because you are posting so many things on Facebook and WhatsApp. So it's a big digital data is getting generated. And there is a Internet of Things. Now, since you have got everybody has got a mobile phone with the internet connection, so now the application is we can utilize this mobile phone to even control your car or even control your machine. So it is the Internet of Things. You can control everything on the internet. And there is a cloud storage because your mobile or laptop has a limitation of 32 GB or 64 GB. So you cannot store more than 32 GB data on your mobile phone. So there are many companies like a Google Cloud. So you can store your pictures and everything in a Google Drive. And there are so many API economy. There are so many mobile applications which are making you conducting business very easy. Any company can form their own mobile application and they can start doing the business. So the business houses or the business or even people who are searching for the job or starting the career, so they have to get adapted to the new technologies, new way of working. Even if you are going for interview, even for a BCom or arts or a science graduate, you are supposed to know how the digital technologies are working because you are getting your calls and everything on your email. So there may be some Skype interviews. During this lockdown time, there was an online classes. So everybody needs to adopt the technology. And for adopting technology, you should be aware what are the technologies available and how it will be going to affect you and how you can use them. So if we just discuss about the business and then a customer, so how a businessman connect with the customer in today's world? See, the first thing is earlier days we had a newspaper and we had a hoardings and we had a TV advertisements. So nowadays, very few people see the TV advertisement. Very few people read the newspapers and see the advertisement. Connecting point with the customer is a digital and a social marketing. And everybody is on a Facebook, everybody is on a WhatsApp. So if you just put something on a Facebook, it will reach to the thousands of people. So your advertisement becomes very easy. And there are different Google search. So Google search, it is customized in a such a way, so your business name will come appear in the first in the list. And there are mobile application and there are customer communities. And what are the business foundation? Now there are many websites like a Flipkart, Amazon, or e-commerce website, or for home grocery. there are big baskets which are delivering material to your home. So there are the platforms and there is a connecting with the customer. So platform is just like your shop or your DMart or a mall. That is a platform. So now the platform is being changing. Now platform becomes online. And suppose you have, and there are customer experience management is also changing. You can on the internet or you can take how this mobile is working. You can see in a YouTube how this mobile work is working, or you take the feedback from other social media. What should be the price of this mobile, and from where we should buy it. So before going to buying decision becomes easier. You don't have to go to shop to select the right shirt or right pant or right shoes. So at the home only, you can select the right product at the right price, where to buy and how to buy. And for that, there is a back office support. Office is also built up. There is a call center support, and there is a email marketing, and there is a community group which spread awareness. Okay, this new product has been launched, and you're generating so much data on a social media and a marketing platform. So, for example, on a Facebook, everybody posting, okay, I went for the dinner, I went for a tour to Europe. So the big data analytics will pick up all this category of people would like to enjoy the life, and they becomes a customer segment. So all the advertisement will be directed to them. Some people may be interested in the religion, or so this big data will pick up who are the people who are more religious. So you will get that kind of message only on a Facebook or the WhatsApp. Okay, so now basically we have seen the conceptually how this new technology is already affecting our life, and we are experiencing it. So we are so much digital. We are so much dependent on internet and the mobiles and the laptop. If for even 1 hour internet will collapse, we becomes uncomfortable. If we don't get food today evening, it will be fine. But internet is not working even for 10 minutes, everybody becomes uncomfortable. So we are so much getting dependent. Even business will get collapsed if 2 hours internet is not working. So we are our business, all the business models now is so much dependent on new technologies. So which are these new technologies, and how is going to affect already affected, and how it is going to affect our future generation. So so far I've discussed on the theoretical concept. So now we will look into various technologies. Some of them may be very new to you, or some of maybe you already using it, or you already known to you. So first one is the artificial intelligence. So what exactly is the artificial intelligence? Many students are opting for the artificial intelligence courses and data analytics. Artificial intelligence is a human has got intelligence, and some of the intelligence part which can be configured into some software, so that computer also can start taking some intelligent decision. For example, in the offices, if you go to bank, earlier there was a customer care desk, and she is answering same kind of queries to the different customers. There are almost 1,000 customers asking the same questions again and again. Another thing, you try to connect with any bank's mobile number or any mobile service provider. First, you have to press 1 for billing, press 2 for your plan, press 3 for the payments. So earlier there was a call center girls doing that, handling thousands of customers. So now it has been converted into some software program. So the software knows what are the routine questions they will face, and accordingly, automatically it answers all the questions. So it calls artificial intelligence. So once the program has been loaded, so let there be so many customers calling for the same information, And because some of the information is very common, so you need not to have a customer care girl sitting there handling thousands of customers. Or even in a bank, processing a bank, there are so many checks are coming. So again, they have to scan that check and enter it physically into the computer. So it can be done with artificial intelligence. Uh, there are robots. Robots basically we've seen in some movies or in some high-tech factories. But now robot software, just now we discuss how this call center automatic messages or we have many websites. If you see, you can see the bot. We feel that it is the actual person, but basically it's a robot. It's a robot is not just like a so we've seen in a movie, but it's a software designed to designed to animate the human responses. And third is a drone. Drone, it has got plenty of uses. Recently, also we have seen how it was used in a crowd management, and it can be used during the crisis, just like we had a cyclone. So human cannot go there, but the drones can go there and take the pictures, and the control room can do all the analysis. What action to be taken? Drones can go into places where humans cannot go. So it provides the safety to the human beings. So now, Europe or America, they started delivering pizzas and everything at your home with the help of drones. So drones uses are keep on evolving. It used for at the construction site. In a construction site, traditionally we had one Mukaddam or a supervisor to supervise all the workers to ensure the safety. Now drones can do all the supervision at a larger site. In Bangalore, we have got a metro project. So it's a very almost 20 kilometers. The supervisor cannot travel daily to supervise each and every station. The drone can do that in 20 minutes. It can sit in a control room and supervise entire railway station with this drone photographs. And the important things in the last 4 months, we are listening continuous about online education. Now schools are closed. Now all the professor and school will give the online education. So this online education is just basically we are giving a video lecture, but we cannot offer the practicals or the demonstration in the science or engineering colleges or schools. Practicals is a mandatory. Without practical, you cannot understand the theory. So we can take a help of virtual reality to, to demonstrate what we can demonstrate in a college laboratory or uh, college practical labs. And there is the augmented reality. So augmented reality, it's a part of virtual reality. In that, student can we have got an annual picnic. For example, RV College is organizing annual picnic to Taj Mahal, but everybody cannot afford to go there. And even at Taj Mahal also, there is a lot of restriction to enter the premises and touch anything. But with augmented reality program, student can just put the headgear, and he feel that he is actually traveling into the Taj Mahal. He feel like he is physically walking into the Taj Mahal, or is this, if you use their augmented reality into engineering college, so once that headgear in a program he can put on his head, they will feel that he is repairing that machine and actually seeing that machine. So we'll see all the examples of all these technologies in our future slide. You don't worry right now and don't stress. Another technology is the blockchain. We are regularly doing online payments, and in a newspaper we read our account has been hacked and somebody has withdrawn 70,000 from our account. And because it, with the blockchain technology, we can prevent it hacking. And it's a transition with, for example, you are buying something from Amazon. How you ensure that you are paying to Amazon, not to some dummy site? And how Amazon will ensure that that order is placed on a vendor with the right address and with the right product, and the vendor will hand over same thing to the logistic team who will deliver at your home, and how delivery man will ensure that you are the right person to take the delivery. So it is ensured by the blockchain technologies, which is again is a software technology and it has been widely used in a banking and all the financial sectors. And another technology is the Internet of Things. Now everybody has got a mobile and everybody has got internet connection. So if you people have thought of using this internet connection not only for the online purchases, with the Internet of Things, you can get connected with your car. You can get connected with the washing machine. Well, by sitting in office, you can just select timing of switching on your washing machine. And if you feel nobody, you forgotten to switch off all the lights and you are out of station. So with the Internet of Things, with the mobile, you ensure that you have all the lights and everything is switched off, or your car has been locked. And there is an industrial application. For example, in the petrol pump, uh, the operator is filling up petrol of 5 liters, 10 liters in your car. But how do you ensure, or the owner is ensured that he is actually filling 5 liters or is filling 4.9 liters? And then the owner will see all the activities of this operator sitting in his office with this mobile. And the lastly is the 3D printer. Is a revolution in the manufacturing. It's going to be just like we have seen in a previous slide, how electricity invention it changed the factories. So 3D printing is going to change the factories. How the new manufacturing things will be going to uh, change the factories, and how the workers has to adapt to new technologies to secure their jobs. So all these technologies are impacting the business model, how you're doing the business, how you're running the factories, how you're operating your petrol pump, or how the government is controlling the crowd with drones, how banks or business houses becomes more efficient to connect with the customer with the robotic software, and how entire future education is going to change with the virtual reality and augmented reality. So we'll see the uses of all these technologies. So first is the digital banking. If the younger generation may not imagine how the banking were looks like up 15 years or 20 years back. There are so many desks and so many departments. There is a clearing department for even for collecting the cash. You have to stand in a queue for 3 hours. So new generation cannot even imagine. So you have to take a token and come back after 2 hours or 3 hours just to collect some 500 rupees. And there is a checkbook. You have to write the checkbook. For collecting a checkbook, again you have to physically go to bank, collect the checkbook, and it may take you 1 day or 2 days to just to get the checkbook. And you cannot buy insurance or do the share markets or mutual fund from the bank. Again, you have to go to some broker to buy a mutual fund or a share, buying a share. Right in today's world, even banks are selling the gold or even the gold bond. So the and communicating and connecting with the bank is very easier in nowadays. And even customer at the customer part, they feel it is secured. And many banks are now advertising. Now, your bank is in your mobile. So, do you comfortably doing and with the assurance that my money is safe? You're transferring money with to your vegetable vendors with a Paytm. Maybe it's a 50 rupees. So, previously we discussed. So, how we are assured that this online transaction brings the trust between who is paying and who is collecting. So, that is a blockchain technology which is ensuring the safety and bringing trust to the transition and making all this banking much easier. You now buy the online insurance, and you are ensured that you are covered. And if there is you are sick, and you can log into the internet and put your claims, and immediately you upload all the bills and everything. Your claim get processed. So it is all happening because one thing is the internet, second thing is blockchain technology, and third is the cloud technology. Because in banks there are thousands of customers, there are thousands of data. So bank cannot have their own computers to store all this data. So there are so many big players like a Google or Amazon. They are offering a solution for storing all this data in their clouds. They've got a very large data center. So all your ATM, daily transaction, everything, it is stored somewhere. It is not stored in the bank. So this cloud facilities and the security of all the software, it enabled the digital bank. So you can see how the banks were functioning some 10 years or 15 years back and how it is functioning now. And in future, again, you will see it will be totally different. It will be uh, very convenient and more safe in future time. So you may not even see the banks in your neighborhood. Even today, you will see banks with some 20 people or 15 people. So it's a kind of a challenge to the new generation to get adopted to the new technology to remain in a job market. Otherwise, bank may not require so many people to uh, you to do this new. If you don't know this new technology, bank will not recruit you. So you should be technical savvy and try to adopt all this new technology to be ensure that you are employable along with the banking knowledges. So how the bank is working, we go to call center support, and call center is also automated. So you press one for banking account, press two for know your balance. So there is no physical person sitting at a call center. It's only machine. It's a robotics who are answering your question. If it's very complicated, only then the customer service will come into picture. Otherwise, you just 10 minutes you keep on pressing the buttons. And there is a video tellers. So video tellers is we are collecting a money right now from the ATM. In future, the ATM will have videos also. You feel that you are interacting with a real person. And there is a messenger chatbot. Just now I discussed about chatbot. You log into any website, so immediately some chat box will come out. The chat box, you can type your message. Okay, I require where is the uh, ICICI Bank located in a Bangalore. So the chatbot will answer your question. When from where I should get the checkbook, so the chatbot will answer your question. Earlier day we had a physical person. You have to go to bank and you have to ask what is balance in my account or where I will get the checkbook, which form I have to fill up. So now same thing can be done with the chatbot. And many banks has got the social media or you can say apps. So with the apps only you do all your banking. You buy shares and you transfer your money. There are ATMs and there are self-service kiosks. From there you can uh, you can buy your fixed deposits also. You don't have to go to the bank. You got a nearest branch. Nearest branch is your mobile, and you definitely you can log into their website and do all the business. There is a if there is a problem, there is an email, and you will many times you see the messages. You have got a pre-sanctioned loans. You have got a pre-sanctioned housing loan. So how did the bank do? They analyze your spending data, your income, and everything, and based on that, uh, they feel that okay, you have got the credit rating higher enough to get the loan. So getting a loan becomes very easier because earlier day to getting a loan from the bank, you have to prove that you have to give all the bank statements and you have to give your salary slip and everything. But now the bank is with the data analytics. Bank itself is taking all the capturing all the data and all your habit, and they give you pre-approval loan. So getting a loan now becomes easier. Within a 5 minutes or 10 minutes, all the money is getting transferred in your bank. So we have discussed how this new technology has affected banking and the payments and the transition. So now we will see how this another technology which is called virtual reality and augmented reality is going to affect the education and training. We in a lockdown period there was so many online classes and uh, online classes and online learning and webinars, but it has got some limitation. in particular online, the faculty can give only the video lectures, but he cannot able to demonstrate the practical. For example, science student for last 3 months, they cannot do any practicals, or for engineering student or medical student. Without practicals, they cannot learn clinically. Just giving video lectures, it may help to complete the syllabus, but it will not going to help them to gain some valuable knowledges. So this new virtual reality or augmented reality classroom, it has got the headgear, and in headgear, you can see in our slide, in a headgear, he can see the actual machine. What do you what the professor want him to see as a practical, or a medical student, they can see how the heart is functioning, or how the corona is affecting to the human body. So with their headgear, the person feels that he's really in the front of that machine or front of that heart. He can touch that, he can modify whatever he want, he can open the screw open machine. Again, it's a virtually, just like we are playing the video game, and in a video game, in the mall, you are driving your bike at 100 kilometers and 200 kilometers. So virtual reality, you feel that you are actually operating that machine, or you are actually travel to Europe, but just by taking the headgear, and you really feel that you are actually walking on a Europe street. So this virtual reality and augmented reality is going to change the virtual classroom or the conventional classroom, how we are functioning in today's world. So because this, it is already kick-started during the lockdown. Online government also started insisting on online education, because we have till maybe for another 2 years we have to maintain the social distancing. So virtual classroom, it will going to definitely play the big part in education field, because just video lecturing and social distancing uh, will not help the student to gain the complete knowledge what they are supposed to get attending the full-time classes. So college and faculties need to get adopted to this augmented reality very soon, to be ensure that they immediately adopt as soon as it has got deployed in their classrooms or in the college or coaching institutes. So I think we have covered uh, how business is evolving and changing year by year. And then we have seen the digital payment system, banking. So it has affected the banking sector and payments and other things. Then we have seen how new technology is going to change the online learning. So one of the things which was very much affected, and still it is getting affected during the lockdown, is the manufacturing industry. Manufacturing industry, that got a lot of workers, and they have to manufacture at some particular factory. The factory is generally located out of the town or out of the city, so commuting will be a problem. So can you imagine you are buying a shirt. Conventionally, the shirt has been manufacturing in some factories in some remote location of Bangalore. It has been transported to the stores or departmental stores, and it is displayed there. And the customer goes there and select the required shirt and buy that shirt. Now, can you imagine you go to your neighborhood store, and you on the display you select the shirt and press the button print, and your shirt is getting printed. So this new technology, it is called 3D printing. It is going to change how traditionally for 100 years we are manufacturing the goods. Uh, all the goods you're right now you're going to DMart or Reliance Fresh to buy just a grocery. But if you in the future you go to same DMart to buy your shoes, and the shoes it's not manufactured in some factories, the shoes is getting printed in front of you. So till now, this 3D printing is under evolution stage. So, but right now, it is used for the medical, because suppose your teeth, or your bone, once it is got broken, body cannot remanufacture it. But 3D printing will take all your body dimension and everything, and they will print your bone or your teeth, or for many unfortunate people, they are suffering of cancer. So during a cancer operation, uh, that particular face part is to be removed. So it cannot be again regrown something. So with this 3D printing, we can uh, print this facial shape, and again we can replaster on his face. Or some people might have got burned, and during our maybe face got distorted during some accident. So with 3D printing, his new face can be printed. It can be put on his face. So in the middle picture, you can see this is basically is a printer. It's a 3D printer. It can print your hand, artificial hands. Even it started manufacturing with the 3D printing your mobile chip. Recently, last 2 3 days, we see make in India. We will not buy Chinese mobiles or Chinese technology. Well, why China is selling their mobiles into India? Because they know the chip manufacturing technologies. Assembly we can do in India, but manufacturing of chip is very difficult. So if we with the 3D printing, we can print this chip in the same shop, and we can assemble the mobile. There are many, just like a Paris or Boeing International, who are manufacturing aeroplanes. They started manufacturing aeroplane parts with the 3D printing. So if you see the middle picture, it's the aeroplane part, very critical part, which has been manufactured by Boeing with the 3D printing technology. You can create complete model of the building or a township, how the township will look like, uh, planning for the town planner. So how the streets will look like, how the drainage will look like. So the complete model can be generated with the 3D printing. Recent 2 3 months, we have heard a lot about migrant labors, and because migrant labors were left big cities to the villages, now construction industry is facing the labor shortages. So till everything get restored, another 6 months, or there will be labor crisis, and all the building projects, metro projects will be under hold. So how the future technologies is going to, which will not be much more labor dependent. So it will going to use, we have discussed about the Internet of Things. So all these cranes, overhead cranes, which can be operated from the mobile. It is connected, the crane, motors and everything, it is connected with some sensor, and you can operate that, and you can lift all the buildings, pillars or prefabricated room, and pile on them, and you can construct a building. And drones will supervise the site to ensure the safety, and drones will capture the pictures, and it will be discussed at the head office what is the progress of that particular project. For example, the metro railways project going on in Bangalore. So how the management sitting in the Delhi will see the day-to-day progress. So if the project reports and everything can be seen in Delhi, the Indian government can see what is the today's progress in a metro rail project. So we are again, so many times are repeated Internet of Things, Internet of Things. So Internet is everywhere. Now it's in a small village, and suppose your mobile has got Internet, and the device has got, uh, uh, it can be connected with the Internet. So you can control, for example, uh, manufacturing machines. So manufacturing machine, right now we need a supervisor to supervise all the machines and workers, how much things are getting produced and everything. And supervisor is to go and count how many box they've manufactured, or how many box they've packed and given to the logistic for the supply. So now we can do that with this mobile, because all the machine will be fitted with uh, some sensor. The sensor will connect with his mobile, and he can see all the calculation on his mobile. There are now there is a shortage of the power during the cyclone period, so many people have hired the generators. So generator has been given on the rental, but how the owner is ensuring that the operator is not doing theft in a diesel and is not switching off the generator for 1 hour and selling the diesel to somebody else. So the owner can monitor the generator's operation sitting at his home on his mobile, and he can plan the preventive maintenance to when how the generator was operating and when it's going to get broke down. In our home, you got a washing machine. So this Internet of Things will give you complete analysis. How many hours in a day the machine was on, and what was the effect on the machine when you are going to be, it requires to be serviced. What are the cost of spare parts after 6 months? Because you need the servicing. Suddenly your washing machine will stop working and you require repairing. So all these things you will get an advance warning in your mobile. And almost for 5 years, we are talking about smart cities. So smart cities involving all this Internet of Things technology. So your electricity bill and everything, you can see on your mobile today how many power I have consumed. So if there is not, you can, if you find some abnormal power consumption, you can immediately see at your home who is wasting your power. Or if you are not using that power, you can inform to the electricity board, I'm not using that power and still I'm getting the bill. So it becomes easier for you to monitor your electricity bill at your home. Smart homes. So smart homes, all the things are connected digitally with your mobile. Your tube lights or your TV or your washing machine, your car, everything is on your mobile. And you can set the timings when you want to switch on the TV, when you want to switch off your tape recorder. So with the smart home, you can control the power consumption and the operation and the maintenance cost of your smart home. And it is used in a farming, agriculture, and smart buildings and health also. Now we have got Arogya Setu application to prevent us from spreading of the corona disease. So that application, you got the internet on your mobile, and the government is monitoring your movement. So once you are in a corona zone, it gives you alert. Okay, you are in a corona zone. Take care. And the biggest change which is made on the business is the social media. The social media is everywhere. Earlier, 10 years back, we were not so dependent on the social media for at least our buying or transaction or money transaction, or even now you can apply jobs on your internet. Now you can take the interviews on the mobile. So the physical requirement of coming to the office, it has been reduced. So now people are connected globally with the social media. There are so many school friends or your relatives. You may not have met them for years, and you might have lost their own connection. But now they are suddenly appearing on the Facebook, and you are finding all your old friends, all the relatives. They are on a Facebook. You are able to connect with all the professionals on LinkedIn connection. And many people are finding jobs or expanding business on the LinkedIn. And you are following tweeters, you're getting connected. On a YouTube, now it's a new learning platform. You learn so many things on a YouTube. For clearing some concept, you switch off, you log into YouTube, put the subject, how to cook idlis. So you'll find so many videos which help you to teach you how to make the complete recipe and complete guiding. So we are getting so much dependent on social media and so much used to social media. So it's a good opportunity for the businessman to tap this social media. So now all the businesses, they are spending less on a physical advertisement and they are focusing more on a social media. You will find you just log into any website and you will find so many pop-ups, so many advertisements, and unconsciously you're seeing that advertisement daily 10 times, and it becomes getting stored in your mind, and you are making the purchase decision. So social media is transforming the business along with the about technologies, and we are seeing that last 10 years how the business was done, and now we are doing the business. And wow, business means it's not only selling or buying, it's only interacting with the people, it's affecting the education system. For education, now the result has come up. Earlier, there was a big crowd near the college for taking admission, collecting the forms and everything. Now everything is going online. So you get the admission online, and all this information you will get online on the website. So all this digital technologies, it has affected so fundamentally in our life. So it has changed the business, it has changed the consumer behavior and our day-to-day life. So we are seeing in this scribbling, social media, there are thousands of uses of social media. It is a fun connecting with the people, uh, just for the learning. In the Wikipedia, you learn so many things, building relationship with your customer, and it giving a lot of customer, and your investment, business investment getting good returns. And you get the trust. Suppose you want to travel to some places, so from which travel agency should I buy tickets or everything? You get all the reviews. So customer is more aware what exactly they have to buy, what are the features and everything. So digital transformation, it is affecting our life, and the businessmen or the people who are not ready to adopt this, they will find it very difficult to for survival. And the people who are were very much aware about this new development and adopting all this technology fast, they are ready for the new job market and the new business. So with this, I completed my uh, on the digital transformation. Mohan sir, if anybody has good question.
Yeah, there were a couple of questions on the chat box, Dharmendraji.
And even in the Q&A.
Yeah, in the Q&A.
Yeah, so can you read out for me?
Yeah, sure. Everybody knows that digital transformation is a must for development. With your vast experience, could you suggest a few tips how to generate many employment opportunities in a developing country like India? It is a question by Mr. Srinivas Murthy, East Point College for Higher Education.
Yeah, it was a very fantastic question, because whenever we talk about technology, people getting afraid that we might lose job, or there will our employment generation opportunity will get reduced. If you see conventionally, when the buses has come during 100 years back, people were riding the horses. Then buses has come. So it has generated in early days people were afraid. Now buses has come, you will lose employment. But if you see when the buses and trains started, it generated a huge opportunity for the employment. When the computer has come, uh, the old generation people who are typing the letters and everything, they feel that they will lose the job. But the computer has come and it becomes a part of our life so easily that it has computer has generated so many jobs. So with this new technologies coming in, so just now I discussed how this digital transformation or online platforms and online uh, delivery platforms, it has generated huge employment in our country. Single example I can give, in the last year's Government of India's report, almost 10 lakh new jobs were created because of this Uber and Ola online taxi booking. 10 lakhs new jobs. because now it's all the owners can get connected with the same application in a virtual manner, and they can earn decent money. So this adopting the new technology, people needed to get afraid. It is generating huge opportunity for the employment for all the sectors, not only the taxi or manufacturing or education sector. For example, we have a single colleges who are just have an intake of 600 students. So college cannot increase the fees every year. But if you adopt to the virtual classroom or virtual technology, the same college can teach to entire geographical area, and we can educate more people who are unable to come to big town, big cities like a Bangalore, and he can get a same level of education. So he becomes a more skillful to get adopted to the new industries.
Okay. Thank you very much, Jani sir. There's one more question which says, how do
Mohan,
you think?
Mohan, just to add here what Dharmendra Jani sir said now. Sir, correct me if I am wrong. Another thing is like technology doesn't mean that everybody has to become a coder. Technology also means that how you actually get used to the applications, how you understand the application, how to use it. Now, once you understand that, you need to have a domain knowledge of domain expertise of whichever the field you are studying.
Yes,
Unless you have a domain knowledge, you will not be able to use the technology. All technologies, the coder will not know how a real estate industry works, or how a banking industry may work, or how a manufacturing industry may work. He will not know. He will know what to code, but what to be coded is the domain expert who will teach them there. So now these domain experts, whatever the students are studying now, or whatever we are teaching in the colleges now, we just need to understand these applications, how to apply it and how to make use of it. Don't think that technology means just a coding job. Am I correct, Dharmendra Jani sir?
Yeah, you are perfectly correct.
Yeah, it is like, several years ago in one of my companies, we started the ERP solution, and these ERP guys came and asked us at least 10,000 questions to understand how we are operating, what is the process. Basis that they developed a ERP solution for us.
And the people who were questioning actually had the domain expertise. Such people also gets employed. Correct. Software companies, people who can understand a little bit of application but have a heavy domain expertise, they are actually co-opted by the software companies or these coding companies to actually get that side of the knowledge.
Yes. Like Srinivas Murthy sir, if I can probably answer your question, if your student does not even know what is a balance sheet, how it is prepared, etc., he can't even answer questions from ERP solution companies or software. So to that extent, yes, and I'm only focusing on the commerce students. I hope most of our participants are commerce teachers. Okay, even if they're otherwise, you must have the domain knowledge first, and these are all things which will help you to become an expert in your domain, and that's how it works. Jani sir?
Yeah, perfect.
Okay. There was one more question asked by, again, Murthy sir. It said, how do you think it will improve job opportunities in rural sector like farming and horticulture?
It's very good question, and even the farmers and agriculture is very fast to adopt all these technologies. Because with the utilization of Internet of Things and everything, they are putting sensors in the farmhouse. With the drones, addition of drones, they can see how much, what is the composition of a particular crop. What is the composition of what you call the green segment, what is the yellow segment, and everything they are able to analyze, and they can they find it very helpful to improve the production and the quality of the food grains. So rural India is not backward India. Rural India is very progressive, and they are very, compared to the cities, they are very fast to adopt these technologies. They are using solar plants, and they are using Internet of Things. They are using drones, because the vast agriculture land, one farmer he cannot walk through and see supervisor. So now they're using the drones to supervise the entire area.
Yes, yes, you are right. You are right.
And also the availability of skilled labor now. You see, farm labor is also becoming difficult. I think it is forcing people to adopt to technology, right?
Yeah, it's not forcing basically, it's a convenience basically.
Convenience.
Yeah, it is a aiding to the perfection.
Absolutely, absolutely. One more question asked by another gentleman was, do your courses also help my students in understanding these technologies? I hope he meant not to master the technology, but at least to understand the technology.
There are one thing is you becomes an engineer and you become a software programmer. So that is a totally different way of a career. But
Correct.
now as a user, so now suppose you are a BCom student or even you are 10th student, you need to know how to operate your mobile. So you as a user, you are supposed to know how to operate the mobile, how Android is working, how to download the application. So you don't have to go to classes to learn these technologies, but you should, as a user, because now suppose just now Mr. Mohan Kumar sir has said ERP system. So ERP system the engineers will implement, but you are the user, and as a maybe you're a BCom or you may be a art graduate or you're HR department. As a user, you have to adopt all this new technology or fundamentals. Because earlier time, as I said, there was a typewriter, and now it has been replaced by the computer. So people have started typing on computers.
Correct, correct. Many of us did not know say one year ago on how to log into a Zoom.
Yeah, that's right. Even, 2 months back, with my first webinar, I learned how to use the Zoom.
Zoom, yes, yes, yes. So that's where you're saying, as a user, you must understand how it works, and there is somebody else who will create it for you. You don't bother about it.
Yeah, so in line with this, now you are joining some company, and tomorrow they will say your interview is going to be taken on Zoom, and you don't know how to operate the Zoom. You are a fundamental student, master, but if you don't know the Zoom or how to connect with them, you lose that opportunity. So adopting technology is not losing your core competency, but it's additional help to get connected.
Okay. The other question asked by Saujanya ma'am is, how does these technologies help you in education? Because she is an educationist herself. So I think her question is very valid.
Yeah, madam, it's very valid question. So during my presentation, I discuss about virtual reality, and the online education becomes popular in last 3-4 months. But conventionally, the developed countries like US and Europe are already using this virtual reality or online education to reach out to the vast geographical area. For example, you have a very great knowledge and great infrastructure, but again, you got a very limited intake of the student and
Yes,
very
sir.
limited limitation on the faculties, how many faculties you can use. But once you get adopt and develop some programs, online programs or modules, your college will get additional revenues. And for example, your faculty will record the lectures and they will upload that. And that same lectures can be referred in some remote town also. So the same person can come to your college only for the exam. So it will help the education sector in expanding the student base and not speeding the knowledges.
Okay. So do you feel that it will survive for longer time, like this digital transformation? I mean, because of this pandemic, we are all into this. But later, if everything goes well and fine, can we retain the same transformation?
No, see, we don't have a choice to retain this. It is going to change. It will be forced upon us.
Correct. Yeah.
So if you say no, it's just a temporary phase. I will order from the Swiggy. It's not a temporary phase. I'm going to order from Swiggy even after lockdown also.
Exactly.
Just
Thank
to
you,
add,
sir. Thank you.
Just to add here, madam, I don't know if you have noticed newspaper columns.
Correct.
See, most of these big software companies, the campuses, the big campuses, what they hired, took on
Uh-huh.
rent or lease on outer
Correct.
ring road. Now, this
Sir.
pandemic forced them to work from home. So most of these people are working from home even today, even when the lockdown is, eased to an extent.
Sir,
Now
but
they have
as a teacher's perspective, I'm asking this
No,
question.
I'm just connecting that. I'm just connecting that.
Yeah,
Now,
yeah.
what has happened is these companies have realized you don't need such large campuses.
Correct.
Actually, the company can be run by working from home.
Correct, sir.
So
Correct,
now,
sir.
they are downsizing the, campus requirement, and they are moving into smaller offices by making, most of the people work from home. Like that, probably the teaching also will evolve, in the days to come, where lot many things probably can be handled, virtually.
Online. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, in
Thank you.
see, I can give you an example in our own company, Financial Planning Academy.
Mhm.
Sir, Mohan sir has talked about the certified financial planner course. So we can offer that entire course in a digital mode also. All the
Yeah.
lectures have been recorded, and all the PowerPoint is in a one place, books and everything. So student can buy that course and sit at home and
Okay.
travel through entire the course.
Okay.
So student get the option who are at some remote place, they get opportunity to do the same level of course what people are in Bangalore or in some cities.
Yeah, yeah.
Thank you, sir. Thank you so
There's one,
much.
sorry, Jani Saab, there was one question from a person. I'm afraid I missed his name. Is what about security issues and solutions in digital transformation?
Mr. Adishesha.
Adishesha, yeah, yeah.
The security issue, basically there are multiple users and there are multiple applications.
Mm.
And so it's a real issue basically, hacking, and because all the users are not so adaptable. For example, our older generation or our parents just getting familiar with the mobile or online banking or ATM, there is a risk involved because uh, they are receiving some OTP and they are sharing with somebody. So these are risks. Definitely there is a risk. With the help of blockchain technology, this risk is getting reduced, or it's a rare basically. You will find it is a very rare that some hacking has happened or some fraud has happened. It's very rare case. That is why it is appearing in the newspaper. If it is a day-to-day phenomenon, nobody is going to use the technology. So it means that this technology is made so foolproof and so user friendly. So the security issue is very negligible.
And in fact, there are people who will be working on, anti-technology, the same technology itself, they will be working for, these kind of hacking, that is also a kind of technology nowadays. Hacking is also a technology.
Ethical hacking is also a technology.
Yeah, but there is a lot of government restriction also. There are many watchdog on this hackers and everything. So nowadays it's almost 99% is safe.
Okay. Last question from Dr. Katyayani Katti. I don't know which college she represents. She says, what about the rural population, which is very, very large? How do we ensure that they are also benefited by this?
Because there is a network issue.
Yes.
See, I would like to answer this question. It's very interesting because I worked in MNCs like Siemens and Schneider Electric, and our government also was very visionary. So we have got a beautiful railway system. So railway tracks are reaching each and every corner of our country. It is even reaching up to Ladakh. And since last 20 years, our government started laying fiber optic cables along with the railway tracks. So the fiber optics, it is reached to almost each and every rural area, even the Himalayas. So fiber optics is not dependent on a networks or anything. It's a data flowing on a fiber optic. It's a light traveling. So this connectivity issue, it's very localized in some particular area. But as a complete village or complete town, the connectivity will not be a problem, and it is getting improved with the 5G technologies. It becomes, our country becomes internet connected. can say 100% it is connected with the reliable internet connection because
Correct.
it's a plan for fiber optic technology, not the wireless technology.
Yes.
I think,
So
I think
it's
you know,
just a
one,
matter.
one sterling example here is the success of DBT, the direct benefit transfer, which has been successfully being implemented, actually speaks of, you know, the rural reach of internet. Am I right, sir?
Yeah, that's right.
And there is one question, Mohan sir, you missed out by Ms. Kirtana and Venkatraghavan.
Yeah. I think just now you answered that question.
No, you see, you know, this question is like, can you please compare digitization with digital transformation? This is something I think Jani sir should address.
Okay.
Yeah. So digitization is a technology, and how we are using this technology to do the business is called digital transformation. I given the example of our neighborhood shop. He was using calculators, so he was using the digital devices. But he has not transformed his business. He is sitting in the same shop, same customer, but just to calculate the bill, he was using the calculator. But his the conventional business was same for 60 years. He has not changed the way he's doing the business. But now he's compelled to do the online business or start accepting the Paytm payments or the digital technology, and he has to buy all the devices to ensure that he get a digital payment. And his business is hijacked by Amazon or other big basket or big size. When we had a neighborhood shoe shop, for almost 15 years I was buying my footwear from the same shop, but now it has got closed because he has not adopted this new way of doing business. If he would have been transferred his business to the online business, if he would have reached a larger market area and become a much richer. And Amazon has done that, but our neighborhood businessmen who could not able to transform, that's why he also got distracted. And people who have got adopted that, they survived.
That's good.
Thank you very much, Jani sir.
I think
Hello, Ravi. Ravi.
So thank you very much.
I would, Jani Saab, I would just like Mr. Ravi to propose a vote of thanks to all the participants and your good self. Ravi, you can take over.
Please. Thank you, Mohan. Thank you, Mr. Dharmendra Jani sir. And it was a wonderful session. We had, I think, of course, we are experiencing most of this digital transformation, digitization, you know, in our day-to-day life. But how exactly it works behind the scenes is something I think you have succinctly, you know, in a very short capsule manner, you have put it across. There is, in fact, you opened a kind of, you know, box now for us to go actually dig deeper and try to understand each one of these, how exactly, you know, it works and all like. So it is like you are given a small taste of it, you know, to understand the full course meal. Probably I think we need to probably go and study for ourselves and you know, to get to know of these things. And I thank Madam for helping us organize this.
Thank you so much, sir. Thank you so much.
It was very nice of you to accept our request and, you know, organize this, and you know, at a short notice. And we have and also pushing the cause for, you know, registrations, and I really appreciate that. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Dharmendra Jani sir.
Yeah,
Thank you, Mohan sir.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
Thanks all participants. Just before I conclude, I just want to, you know, add one thing. Madam, Saujanya Madam, it is
Yes,
with your perspective in mind. It's likewise these faculty development, you know, courses. I mean the webinars. We also do free webinars from a student perspective. Now, what the student actually needs, or what he needs to learn, what is actually the industry standards, industry practices, what is there in the real world for him from the, you know, what he actually sees in the college. No, it's something altogether different, because we all come from industry. We have seen the difference, you know, with the industry expectation and the students who come from college. There is actually, you know, huge gap between the expectation and what he actually
reality.
No, it is not the, you know, the problem of, you know, lecturers, or it is not the problem of, you know, the college per se. I would say it is the problem of the curriculum what has been designed for you to teach. by the, whether it
So,
is,
but then it's our responsibility to make them academically strong.
yeah,
But it's their responsibility to become socially responsible as well, because
correct,
there's a lot
correct,
of difference between class decorum and when you come out of the class, you have to be a responsible personality.
correct,
Absolutely.
correct,
So
correct.
yeah,
And I
they
think
have,
this
So-
is where
but it's our duty to make them realize that.
Correct,
So,
correct.
Sajani ma'am, that's
Yes,
what
sir.
we do. That's what we
Yes.
do in our courses. While we have a large part of the course, which is the academic qualification, we
Correct.
have a substantial portion of it, which is also,
Certifications, yeah.
no, it's not just certification. It's your
No.
personality development, your
Correct.
communication. How do you
Yes, sir.
interact with people? How do you understand people?
Yes,
All
yes.
those soft skills are also included in all our courses without exception.
Yes, sir. Surely we'll take it to our students and
What we do,
will-
madam, is actually we'll create one webinar session and forward it to you. My request is actually if you can on
Share
all
it
the
with the
other
students.
lecturer
All other participants, yes,
participants,
yes.
lecturer
Definitely.
participants here to spread this word among the students so that they also get a benefit out of it.
Definitely, sir. I'll do it. Sir.
Thank you. Thank
And
you.
thank
so
you very
much.
much. It was a wonderful session. Thanks a lot.
Yes.
Thank you,
yes.
Dharmendra sir.
Thank you all.
Thank you.
Thank you.